Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of our anime and manga podcast, Dub Degenerates, where I gotta tell you about the other stuff I'm watching and what's keeping my attention right now with my dear friend, Daniel Floptopoulos. I got nothing. I'm trying to give you a funny name.
I know. I was ready for it. I was waiting for what my last name was.
I'm too tired today, Dan. I'm too tired.
That's
Today we're going to talk about. I have watched JoJo, Metalic Rouge, all of Delicious in Dungeon that was out when we were going to film this last week. So I think I'm an episode behind now. But those are the three primary ones that I have watched. And Dan is. What did you watch? What are you going to talk about today?
I watched oh my gosh, I wish Crunchyroll's terrible at telling you what you watched recently. But I've got The Grace of Gods, which was actually a lot better than I was expecting. And what was the other main one?
For our solo leveling update too.
Yep, I will have the solo leveling update. There wasn't a new one this week, but since we did it last week, obviously I still have one. The God of High School, that was one that I watched, really enjoyed. The Ancient Magus's Bride, and The Apothecary Diaries.
Okay. I did watch more Frieren, but Natalie and I are taking it as more like our show. So we're watching it here and there. We haven't done too much with Frieren, but I'm really liking that one.
Yeah.
I also know it's not done yet, so it's kind of like if I take an extra week or two, it's not going to affect anything.
That's honestly, like, I want to watch Frieren. It's the same with Shangri-La Frontier, where it's like I want to watch it, but I need to have at least a couple episodes I can watch. I can't do the one new episode each week thing. I'm
getting annoyed with Metalic Rouge for that reason, where we're getting one episode, and it's getting so good.
Yeah.
It's getting so good. Okay, so we'll start with that then. Metalic Rouge, if you don't know, is a story about a Neon, which is basically an android girl who is on a mission to kill the Nine. She's been sent to assassinate the Nine. We've now started to discover who she may be. We don't still really know what. We know she's a Neon. We know she's getting orders from what she considers her brother. We don't know much beyond that, which is like...
Which neither does she, is what we learned in this episode.
Yeah, we learned in this episode. She doesn't really know why she is the way she is. She's just doing what she's told.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And what we've discovered is the Nine, which is the villains of the series that she's been killing for the first 7 episodes. First off, episode 6 was the carnival run where we got to see her history, which makes me question things, because it seems like she was the guy, I forget his name, but the main guy, like the other guy, his sister. She was the sister to the guy she calls brother, or at least acted like it, because she had like the summer dress on and she was just relaxing, and then she became this assassin. We don't know what happened between those two things. Was she always just a Neon? Was she somebody else before?
Because they imply that they're removing some of her memories, or at least altering them, because like her brother guy is like looking at images and is like seeing that they did alter these to what she remembers. And it's very interesting, especially considering current day and age AI stuff like we were been talking about.
And then episode 7, she was captured, and now we get to see
by Naomi.
Yeah, by Naomi, which was because Naomi had to turn her back in because she got into a big fight against our big villain where she decimated him. That fight was so good.
We have to pause and just comment on how amazing it is that the music when they're about to start fighting is... It is time for fighting.
You always know the fight is coming. It's like,
I love it.
But yeah, they were on this ship, which had funny, super hilarious moments. And Dan, I'll let you tell the hilarious moment in that one.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Where they couldn't find the doppelganger guy?
Oh my God, the fact that he kept turning into a bunch of different people, and then she's like, okay, what's 9 plus 9 times 9 divided by 9 minus 9? 32. Bang! She can't do math.
That was one of the funnier ones. He's right about that. The doppelganger changed into her, and Naomi couldn't tell who the real one was. So the answer was the one that doesn't answer the question is the actual Rouge. No, we're not talking about the one where she's like, so the guy's doppelganger, and they didn't know who or what he was. So they got everyone that fell into the weight class of what this guy would be. And Rouge is like, this is going to take too much time to figure them out. I'm going to punch them all, and if they can take my punch, they're the villain.
I loved that.
And everyone's like, wait, you can't do that. If they're human, you're going to kill them. She's like, I'll hold back.
And the thing that makes that the best though is the fact that there's also a dog. She punches the dog, and that was the guy.
She punches everyone. They're all on the ground, like beat up by her.
I just love that there was no hesitation in her at all during that scene as well. They're like, she's gonna die. They're gonna be fine. Bam!
Yeah. It was so funny. And then they get up for the big fight where she eventually gets captured by Naomi, which is the other character in the series that she's been on this adventure with for 7 episodes. But as we discover in episode 7, there's way more going on than we thought.
Yeah, like it's starting to run into that situation of, is she a good guy?
Yeah, because they're questioning that because the people that she's been assassinating seem to have good motives. Actually,
Which
now that we,
I love that reveal with the whole brother and sister thing.
oh
And it
yeah,
turns out it's just the same person. I was like,
I thought okay. So
I
there's a
like
character
that.
in the show that is a brother sister combo, but I thought it was weird because they were introduced in episode 6, and you never saw them together, which I found
Mhm.
to be weird. I thought something was up.
Same. I figured something was going on.
Yeah. And we discovered in episode 7 that it is just the same person and also one of the people she's trying to assassinate.
Yeah, one of the Immortal 9, which
Yeah.
was great. It was honestly such a great kind of storytelling device as well, that character in general, because half of the character is basically the Immortal 9, and then the other half is on Rouge's side, and it's the perfect bridge to make
Yeah.
her not immediately go, "No, you're all villains," because she's like, I was friends with that one.
Yeah. And they flip the personality back and forth. I even love the comment she makes. Like, I think she's trying to put it together. She's like, well, I really like this guy, but she's kind of a jerk.
Which, can we also just quickly like note, the voice actor for Rouge is phenomenal
Oh,
for
yeah.
how well she portrays that ignorant but not
Stupid.
dumb per
Yeah.
se.
She
Yeah.
does a really good job. And I think I want to really talk about how good she does because Rouge doesn't say much. She's kind of like the I'm just here for the who do you want me to kill? And like
Yeah.
doesn't say much outside of that. Naomi does most of our talking. She's like the surrogate for we gotta get plot out. We gotta figure out what's going on. She's the exposition dump. And then
Which, for the record, have you noticed that they've kind of run with the meme, birds aren't real? Because the only birds that exist in this show are robots that speak for other people.
yeah, tweet tweet.
Okay. All right, continue.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. We're kind of lumping a bunch of episodes together because we've been gone for a while, but I do highly if you like I wouldn't consider it like a robot anime because I saw people in our chat being like, "Well, I don't normally watch robot anime." Because I would say it's more along the lines of like Kamen Rider, Power Rangers because all the robot people just turn into like some cool badass thing and then they just fight it out. I mean,
It feels robotic in the sense of Kill la Kill, Akame la Kill,
yeah.
Akame
No,
ga
no,
Kill,
no,
the
Akame got
dude.
killed. Oh, okay. You're talking about someone in particular.
Yeah,
So that
there's
show has
someone in
everyone powers.
I know, she has her own powers, but, like, the main guy that it focuses, he, like, kind of bonds with the armor, and it
Yeah.
appears and that's more of along the line of what these, uh, characters are. They definitely do look more robotic, so I can see the confusion, but, yeah, they're more symbiotic, if anything.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Metalic Rouge. I still highly recommend this. The episode 7 reveal is just I really want to know what's going to happen. I'm really enjoying this one.
Mhm.
Why don't you talk about what are the things you watched, Dan, that I have not watched this time?
Well, let me, because you have not been watching Solo Leveling, so why don't
No, we're the dub degenerates, Dan.
I know.
The
I want to
subtitling is throwing me off.
it's throwing me off so much, and I want to listen to the, dubbed version soon because I saw some stuff with the dubbed voice actor and how he was talking about it, and, like, it looked really good. He made it sound really good, plus I prefer dub, so I am excited to watch this in dub.
We
But
named the
anyway,
podcast after dubs, Dan.
I know, I know. That is the most ironic thing, that we named it after that because of a show we were watching in sub. Too funny. But so in Solo Leveling, we got the episodes where we got the past two, because the most recent one was a summary episode, like a 7.5.
Yeah, our chat said, one of the guys in our chat said it's way too early for a summary episode, and I agree. It should not be happening 6 episodes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That I think that was more of them going, we need a week off summary
Just do what
episode.
they did with the Nier anime, which I got halfway through and stopped watching because it was just the Nier story. Well, no, they literally announced like, "Hey, we got COVID. We need a break. We're going to come
Right.
back in 3 weeks."
But so okay, so anyway, what we got was the conclusion of they got taken into the mine, into the dungeon, sorry, and then we had the basically the murderer team that brings people in, kills them,
Yeah,
steals everything, and then leaves, and then he just slaughters all of them.
the team where they were questioning why they even accepted them because they were so much lower and blah blah blah.
Exactly. And it's also very, very important because it's the first scene and episode where he kills other humans.
Yeah.
And is like, huh, I don't really feel anything. But in terms of the show itself, it's been really good. It's been following the manhwa really, really well. I mean, I feel like I just want more each episode. Like, I feel like,
I mean, that was my complaints early on. And for those
yeah,
wondering, I didn't stop watching it because I'm not liking the show. I do want to see where it's going to go, even though after reading 7 volumes of Solo Leveling, I was like, eh.
which
I
for
do.
the record, I read volume 8. I laughed out loud so many times because they're taking it in a slightly different direction, but they had some great moments. Volume 8.
I'm going to
So
read
much.
it on the plane to Seattle at the end.
Oh,
Of this week,
perfect,
so,
perfect.
yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah,
show I
no,
love.
it's just because we decided that if we're going to do an anime podcast, we should probably watch more than 2 shows.
Exactly. So, all right.
Okay, what you need to watch, I'll give you an update. Well, you know what? Let me do my JoJo update real quick.
Okay.
So,
well, actually, before you go into that, because I found this hilarious. I haven't actually checked the comment section in a while, but we did say, hey guys, I'll let you pick the episodes for me to watch to get a
yeah.
sample. The highest voted one at the time that I watched was that single episode I told you guys I saw.
Which one is it?
The one with the chef, the one with the like Italian chef where they're like, how is he getting this
That's the
stuff?
episode I've seen. I
Yeah,
watched.
that's the only one that I have seen, and it's hilarious that that's the one that everyone's like, you should watch that.
Okay, Tony the chef is great. That was a great episode. I loved that thing a lot. I watched all of Stardust Crusaders. I liked it. I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep watching. But I didn't like that it was 39 episodes of a dragged out story. Josuke's arc, which is Diamond and Unbreakable, is much better because it's like 2 episode arcs. So I got to watch the chef guys, but I put him here. But yeah, that was a hilarious episode in which he's doing all these things and they think it's a bad guy and they're fighting against it and it's crazy and it turns out he's a good guy. You're like, how did you watch that one episode? It's in the middle of the season.
Because we were at TwitchCon. I was at that different hotel, the one that Caitlin and I were in, and it was just night. And I was like, I got nothing to watch. Turned on Adult Swim. It was that. And then Mob Psycho. No. Yeah, Mob Psycho.
Mob Psycho. Yeah.
Mob Psycho. And so I saw the first episode of that. I saw the Antonio chef guy, and yeah, that was it. I just saw it while we were at TwitchCon.
So I'm going through this section of JoJo a little slower than I did Stardust because I actually really like Diamond is Unbreakable because I feel it's more digestible.
Okay.
But the upside of it is I feel it's more digestible. The downside is we're only now moving the plot forward because I got to the scene because right after the chef guy, they end up bringing in Joseph, which is the guy from the Battle Tenacity. I think that's the second one. And then he's also in Stardust Crusaders. So they bring him in as now an old man who's senile, which is hilarious.
Okay.
So that's all. I'm taking it much slower because of the pacing they're doing. But like, there's another episode where one of the guys, they acknowledge that the stand users, Dan, are drawn to each other. So there's this, what is his name? I gotta look his name up. Hold on.
I'm assuming stand is just the standard.
It's the ghost thing.
Someone has a unique power, but everyone has it, so we had to give it a name.
Yeah,
basically. God of High School has the same thing. And they call it like chakra.
Kyochi? I think it's Kyochi. So it's this little like short guy. He's got his own power, and this woman, the most popular girl in their class, is drawn to him. So of course she opened up with, "Oh my God, Koichi! Oh no, he's got what's going on?" Turns out she has a stand power to manipulate things with her hair. So, like, it
Totally.
turns into, like, you ever seen the movie Misery? Or you know of it? This woman's
Uh,
obsessed with a writer, puts him in a bed, breaks his legs, she's gonna take care of him.
yes, yes.
She basically miseries Koichi.
Jesus.
He doesn't get his legs broken, but yeah, he's just locked in this room. And she's like, all right, we're going to study so you can pass this, Koichi. And if you get it wrong, you're going to eat the book. Like, oh no.
I just want to quickly put this out there that I don't actually know the movie. I know exactly what you're talking about because most
Right.
of these I know through a Family Guy sketch.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a lot of fun. I did that episode, those 2 episodes in which he fought against the hair user. It was all him and his stand kind of evolving because the buddies couldn't find him.
Okay.
Josuke and I can never pronounce the other guy's name. The one that can, uh,
Jotaro.
yeah, no, Jotaro is the guy. You see him in the black suit and the white suit.
Hmm.
He's like he's the head guy in Stardust Crusaders, and then now he's like mentoring Josuke because they're both Joseph. So I think Josuke would be his uncle.
Okay.
Joseph had an illicit love affair, which is how Josuke is related to the Joestars.
Totally.
And and Jotaro is the grandson of Joseph. So that would make Josuke his uncle, right?
I think so.
I think that's how it works. But anyway, it's not like they go into that. It's just, that's just how the family comes together.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's just Josuke is Jotaro's uncle. Okay, other way around. They're all related. They're all Joestars. That's the plot. But yeah, no, I watched that episode. I watched the chef one that you're talking about. I can point you right to those. I just watched them. And then I watched the episode in which what is it? It's like a lightning thing. They've said it like 1,000 times. The name of this thing. It's like a bird with lightning powers, and then he fought against the guy stand user for it, which was a guitar user. So he's using your guitar as his weapon, because it's JoJo.
As you do.
Yeah. So I'm right in the middle of they're gonna go get Joseph off the boat, but
Okay.
yeah. I think you might like knowing what you like. I think you'd like Josuke stuff because it's a lot of smaller arcs, like the episode with the chef, the episode
Okay.
with the misery thing. I think you'd like that more than the ongoing 39 episode adventure.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, our chat's saying it's one of the most underappreciated arcs in the series. So far for me, the Battle Tenacity is still like the best one. The first season, I felt like I had to push through. I liked it, but I also felt like I was doing it because I wanted to know what the big deal with JoJo was. And if I
Right.
had just watched it myself, I probably would have dropped it after like episode 2 or 3. Like for me, it was I'm gonna watch
That's what
this.
I did.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just gonna. I don't really like this. It's watchable, and everyone says Stardust Crusaders is where it's at, so I'll get to Stardust Crusaders. I'm committing to get to that. Is what
Right.
what I was like, because everyone is like Stardust Crusaders, greatest thing ever. I was like, okay, like I'll get there.
All right.
Which is funny that I like Diamond is Unbreakable.
Right.
All right. What else did you watch? And then I'll talk about Delicious and Dungeon.
So I'll talk about the Apothecary Diaries. So the main reason I watched this was I've heard a lot of good things. The subreddit for anime often does like it shows kind of what's been the most talked about and most popular, most upvoted anime. And Apothecary Diaries was consistently on that list. So I was like, okay, I'm going to check it out because on Crunchyroll, I believe it has a 5.0. Oh, okay. Actually, it's a 4.9 now, apparently. But it was 5.0, 4.9 with 84,000 reviews, which kind of tells you a lot about
Oh, yeah.
it. Like, that's saying something. So it's about this girl. It's based in Imperial China is kind of the paralleled version, but it's this girl who is an apothecary. She works as an apothecary at a not a brothel, but she in the entertainment district with courtesans and stuff. Anyway, she gets captured by
Chili pepper, Dan. That's the bird thing, the lightning. Just throw that out there for you. Yeah, they call him chili pepper. Just
right. Okay, then. It's a good thing I've got this open because otherwise that would have thrown me off my train of thought so drastically. Anyway, she gets captured. She gets sold off, and she gets sold off to this compound. It's basically a palace where there's only women, and they look after the different brides of the emperor. They learn that she's an apothecary, and it kind of turns into a pseudo Sherlock Holmes kind of situation of
Okay.
this girl she looks into the different things. I would say actually more house, because she looks into them at a medical point of view of a very common thing during this time period. A lot of women are getting sick. It's because of the fact that they're using a white powder foundation, which has lead in it, which makes them sick. She knows this. She basically proves herself doing that. And the entire series just follows this girl. And it's so well paced. It's always interesting. Every single character has a personality, doesn't feel flat. Like none of the tropes, or like there's nothing like overly sexual, because she thinks the main guy that's into her is a eunuch, because the only people allowed in this compound are women and eunuchs. She doesn't understand who this person actually is. I won't reveal it. But overall, fantastic show. I don't usually watch this kind of show. I'm much more of I like action, I like fighting, I like power levels. This has none of that, and I loved this show. This is one that you and Natalie would enjoy together.
Okay, I gotta finish up Frieren with her, and then we can
Yeah.
move to that easily.
But if you guys have seen this and you've been curious, go watch it. Go watch it. I literally finished it and I was like, I can see why it has a 5.0. Like there was no doubt in my mind of
Is it done?
No, it is still going. However, they
I
have
think if it's
done
done, maybe we'll swap to that and let Frieren finish.
I know, but they have 18 episodes in dub. So you
Okay.
can, for the most part, you can actually watch it to a point that you could consider it ended for
Okay.
the time being. But phenomenal. I actually have been so excited for this podcast to talk about Apothecary Diaries. I enjoyed it that much.
All
So,
right. Well, I've got one that I got excited about, and I ended up
Okay.
binging the entire series in a night.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, it was only 8 episodes at the time, so I binged 8 episodes. But you
That's
get what
still
I'm
a
saying.
whole series. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? We'll take it.
Delicious in Dungeon is great. Like, okay, so
Okay,
the concept
this is the Netflix one.
The Netflix one, yeah.
Okay.
So the conflict is, in the opening of the whole thing, you have your little party of people. You got the elf mage girl, you've got the healer girl, you've got the thief, like young thief guy, and you got the knight. And they're fighting a red dragon, and the red dragon eats the healer girl, and she teleports everyone away right before the dragon's gonna eat everyone.
Okay.
So they warp out of the dungeon, and it's decided that the dragon's going to hibernate and it's going to take a long time to digest. So they might be able to get back and save the healer girl in time before she's digested.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what they do, but because they got teleported away, they have no money, no gear, no nothing. They got to get it all back.
Mhm.
And one of the primary things is, how are we going to get that far into the dungeon with no food? So it's quickly decided we'll eat the things in the dungeon. Hence,
As you do.
delicious in dungeon.
Love it. Okay.
And the first couple of episodes just plays into the whole thing, and it's just kind of like, oh, ha ha ha. You know, elf girl doesn't like eating the stuff in the dungeon, and this guy's getting excited about the flavors in the dungeon. But they quickly run into a dwarf who joins the group, and the dwarf lives in the dungeon, and he is an expert chef with everything in the dungeon.
Of course.
So the way it typically works, the flow of an episode is they run into a problem, they resolve the problem, that ends up with them killing a monster, and then they have like a whole 5-minute sequence about, okay, and then you take the oils over here, and you do this, and you do that, and they just cook the thing from the dungeon.
I like it.
But it started out as just like a lighthearted, fun thing, but they
Mhm.
started really diving into it. Like, what is the dungeon? What races are being ostracized from the surface world and forced into the dungeon, and now adventurers are going into the dungeon and pushing them further. Like the orcs had gone into the dungeon to hide, they got pushed back by the red dragon, but now the humans are like, you can't come hang out with us because you're orcs and you're bad. And the orcs are like, we're just looking for somewhere to live. Like it starts deeping into a lot of like more serious themes, but with its lighthearted comedy tones.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like we're going into like this really serious themed area,
Right. Which is often a problem when they go in that direction. You're like, I don't want a philosophical discussion.
Right.
That's not
It's
why I'm
staying
watching.
lighthearted the whole way through. And there's a
Gotcha.
lot of fun things like they can revive people if they can get their body back, which is why they're trying to get the body back of the guy's sister. That's who you find out. It's his sister, the main kind of lead guy. I had their names written down, and I was when we were going to talk about it last week, but now I just remember them as their generic class that they are in a dungeon.
Hey, that's all you really need.
But I actually think you'd really enjoy it. It's really
Okay.
fun. It's a very light and easy, breezy kind of watch. They go on crazy adventures, and it's all about the nature of the dungeon, the creatures, how everyone got there, what they're doing, and
Mhm.
it's a really good anime, which I'm
I love
surprised. 'Cause
dungeon-based ones.
yeah, and it's funny because like Netflix hasn't been known for getting like really good ones. They get like one hit and then they get like a bunch of ones you've never heard of and they get thrown away.
Mhm.
And then they get that next hit. This is one of those hits, I think. Like
All right. I'll check it out because I had heard a lot, and you've been talking about it for a while now. So I'll have
a
to check
while is
that
in a
one out.
week. I watched it last week for the show.
Okay, when I say for a while, I mean since literally when you started watching it, you have been talking about it.
Because I know you're gonna like it.
I know. I'll check that one out because I've been wanting to check it out. The main reason I hadn't is because I forget it's on Netflix, and I watch
Oh
mostly
yeah, I
on
can see that.
Crunchyroll these days. So I have two more I wanted to talk about that I
Okay,
found.
wow, okay.
So one is By the Grace of the Gods. This is an anime about a classic isekai. Guy dies, gets reborn in this new world, except it takes a slightly different direction. It's a probably a 40-year-old guy that dies. He doesn't really have like love interests or anything like that, but he lived with his mother. He talks about her a lot and how like he loved her and stuff like that. He dies, gets reborn in this new world as like a 7-year-old and can tame slimes. And he tames these slimes that he then feeds different things and they evolve into different kinds of slimes. So he's got slimes that clean up things. He's got slimes that are healing and all of this kind of stuff. And it's just a fun, happier, lighter anime where they just kind of go through journeys of the classic reborn, overpowered kid who meets new people, shares enjoyment with them. It's just a fun one. Like
Okay.
I saw it, I really enjoyed it. I've only seen 9 episodes, but I do believe it's got 2 seasons. Um both fully dubbed, so I do plan on finishing it eventually.
Good
That
thing
one
we're
was
the dumb degenerates.
exactly. So that one's really good, and that's on more of the calmer side. On the more action side of what I've watched, The God of High School. If you want a show of kids who are strong and are just beating the crap out of each other, that has a very light story outside of it, but is mostly based on the fights, God of High School is for you. And the animation style is really good. This is based off a webtoon. It is a Crunchyroll original. It's a single season. Um, but it's just super good. Like the fighting and the fight scenes and the way they fight and like the differences between their fighting styles. It's just very, very interesting. It's the classic story of so the reason why it's called God of High School, there's a tournament, high schoolers go join in, whoever wins it gets a wish. Classic thing. So you have the oh,
A
this
reason for the
person
fights.
exactly. And you have the, oh, these two are fighting. Let's go into her backstory. Let's go into his backstory. Only one of them can win. So have fun with
Right,
that.
right.
So if you want just a good action one, The God of High School, I actually recommend it quite a bit. This is going to be one of those ones that I will rewatch on the side just because it's not that deep. So it's a very easy to watch while you're watching something else or while you're doing something else kind of thing. So,
Okay. All right. Anything else? I think that's all. I want to say I had something else, but I
uh,
think that's pretty much it.
I started The Ancient Magus's Bride. That one was okay. I didn't watch enough to give a full opinion.
I just bookmarked one that was recommending I'm gonna try. It's like a
Okay.
slice of life one. I don't mind slice of life ones. Like one of my favorite anime was My Dress Up Darling. So I'm like, since Dan always wants to do the everyone beats each other up.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, let me see if I can get some slice of life stuff in here. You're like that way I can be like, and then Dan, if you just want to go on a picnic with a bunch of people.
That's fair because the other one I watched was rewatching Black Summoner, which is another isekai where he gets reborn into a world as like one of the only summoners, and he's just super strong and has cool stuff, and he's cool.
So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dub Degenerates. The current plan for this is to put it out every other week, provided we have enough time to watch things and film it. Last week, a holiday dropped on the day we were going to film it, and when we finally got together to film it, it was like Wednesday, and we're like, all the episodes we're talking about currently are going to drop, so we might as well just wait a week and get this out on a Tuesday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Also, let me know in the comments down below. We've discussed possibly bringing Dan in to kind of do what I do with my reactions to things, but on the webtoon side. So if that's something you're interested in, let us know. We're reading very different webtoons, so I don't think I could do that unless you want me to talk. Like I'm reading, I'll tell you, because all I ever tell people is because what have I always said, Dan? I'm reading ones none of you are going to want to read. I read a lot more. So I am reading the Assassin's Creed webtoon and the Persona 3 webtoon, but I'm also reading, this one's actually cool. I just found it yesterday. It's called Contained, and it's about an SCP girl and living in the SCP facility. That's fun. But outside of that, I've got You've Got to Be Kidding Me. In a world where a meteor went overhead and all the cats turned into humanoid characters and cat boys and cat girls, what happens to your pet cat? It's hilarious. It's got great art for a cute cat girl, but the whole concept is all these cats went out and got jobs and stuff, but she just still wants to be a cat. So it's like a grown woman doing cat stuff, and it's just funny.
Do they make jokes of her showing her butthole to everyone? Like cats, for some
they
reason,
made one joke with that.
They
like,
do? Okay.
She's overly sexual, and it's just like a quick skit where the guy wakes up in bed, and she's just there stretching next to him. And he's like, God, you gotta.
Oh, that's funny.
A Girl Called Lappin' is just a fun thing about a bunny girl that, in the first couple of episodes, the concept was simply she's very large-breasted bunny girl gonna live her life in like it's gonna be a slice of life, and then it just turned into degenerate sex jokes. So like I'm pretty sure the writer was like, oh, you guys just want to see her do degenerate, I'll just do that. Like there was like three of them that was like it was going in a theme, and then that just went out the window.
That's too funny.
I'm reading Bunny Girl and the Cults, which is actually really interesting. The girl is she's involved in a cult where the cult leader dresses them up as bunny girls to attract guys to join the cult.
Totally.
Yeah, and so that's like the plot. So much more darker, horrific kind of thing. Swolemates, a rom-com about a girl who wants to be really big in the esports world, but she also might really like the guy Brayden. I've told you guys about that one. And I did finish it when it ended, but Stagtown was really good. That was a horror-based one. So
yeah, all mine are basically the same. The Druid of Soul Station. Guy gets taken away, becomes super powerful, comes back to a world of hunters. Omniscient Reader. Everyone gets sent to a different universe where everyone has power levels and the main character's awesome. I'm the max level newbie. A tower from a video game gets sent into the main universe. He's super powerful. He's the only one who beat the game. It's basically Dark Souls gets put into the main universe. And then Villain to Kill. A hero gets killed. He gets reborn as a villain. They have power levels, and he becomes a leader of one of the Vil zones.
We read so much superhero stuff, and I'm watching so many anime. I just like webtoons. I'm not gonna lie, I read mostly on the toilet, so I'm just looking for like light reads.
I often do the same, or when this weekend I wasn't at home, so I didn't have my normal, not time wasters, but time wasters. And so instead, I caught up on all of my webtoons, and I literally over this weekend read about 50 chapters of webtoons.
Right, yeah. That's what I mean. Like I go through these binges as well, like Stagtown. I just blitzed the whole thing down. That thing is incredible. But
yeah.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's Dub Degenerates. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts, and I will see you next time. Well, in 2 weeks, right here, talking more about anime and manga.